This is Manideepa from Tara Government Degree College, Sangarandi. In this video, we can discuss it. What are the abnormal behavior of molecules? In general, for a very dilute solutions, what are the colligative properties? How can we calculate the molecular mass of a solute? How it depends on the number of molecules or number of particles of a solute, but it won't depends on the nature or composition of a compounds, which will be clear in the previous videos on different types of colligative properties, that is lowering of vapor pressure, elevation and boiling point, depression and freezing point, and osmotic pressure, along with the how can we calculate that molecular mass of a solute with different colligative properties, that which we discussed in the previous videos. If in general, if that colligative properties basically that are applicable for a very dilute solutions, and that one of the colligative property, that is lowering of vapor pressure, which we can express in terms of a Raoult's law. In general, that colligative properties are Raoult's law, which we have to be expressed only if the molecule won't undergo any association or dissociation process while in the reaction, then only it is applicable for dilute solutions, both for Raoult's law. Based on Raoult's law only, we can calculate the molecular masses or lowering of vapor pressure, elevation in boiling point, depression in freezing point, and osmotic pressure, because all the colligative properties, they are related with each other. So we can calculate all the lowering of vapor pressures or vapor osmotic pressure, different types of colligative properties basically. So if some of the molecules, if they undergo association or dissociation in their reactions, then what will be the nature of that particular molecule, and what happens the colligative property of that particular molecule, that which we can discuss in this video under abnormal molecular masses of any molecule. If they undergoes association or dissociation, what will be the molecular mass, and what will be affect colligative properties. If the colligative property will change, then automatically molecular mass of a solute or solvent also changes, which is in general, they are related with each other, indirectly proportional to each other only. So whatever the molecular masses, whatever the abnormal behavior of a molecular masses, which we discuss, along with that, we have to know what is Van 't Hoff factor. How can we calculate the Van 't Hoff factor, that is small I value, for if a molecule undergoes association or dissociation, that which we can discuss in this video. So what is abnormal molecular mass first, which we have to go through. So the colligative properties are important in calculating the molecular masses of non-volatile solutes. So main importance or main applications of colligative properties, which we discussed already in the previous videos also. We can easily calculate the molecular masses of a non-volatile solute using colligative properties, that which we observed in the previous videos under 4 different types of colligative properties, using 4 different types of colligative properties, that is lowering of vapor pressure delta P, and elevation in boiling point delta TB, depression in freezing point delta TF, and osmotic pressure pi. Using all the 4 colligative properties, we can easily determine the molecular masses of a non-volatile solutes. But in some cases, that too only if they are very dilute solutions and the solute must be a non-volatile, then we can easily determine the molecular masses of a solute in general. In some cases, but the molecular masses determined by these methods do not agree with the theoretical values. So if we find the molecular masses of a solutes by using colligative properties in ordinary method, sometimes whatever the molecular masses, if we determine by using colligative properties in the ordinary methods, which is not equal to the original theoretical values of that particular solute, whatever it is having molecular masses. So why it is differs in the observed molecular masses or the theoretical molecular masses and the calculated molecular masses, that which we have to know now. This is due to the fact why it has a differs in the theoretical values with the original calculated molecular masses means due to the fact that the molecules in such compounds either dissociate or associate. So generally, if the molecules, they can combine with each other, or if one or two molecules, if they make it as a dimer, or they can associate into another molecule, or if they undergoes a dissociation, that means they can be dissociated into different types of ions or different types of atoms. That will be, if it is there in such compounds, then we can observe such a difference in the molecular mass of a substance, whatever we calculated from the colligative properties, which has a differs with the theoretical value. Since the colligative properties of the solution depend upon the number of particles, whether it may be ions or molecules present in the given volume, the values observed become higher or lower than the calculated values due to association or dissociation. So why it gives a difference means, whatever the colligative properties, when we are going to calculate the colligative properties, which depends on only the number of particles present in that given volume of a solution, that will be only depends on the number of particles of a solute. If the molecule, if it undergoes any association or dissociation, so the number of solute particles or the number of particles which may increases or decreases. If it undergoes association, then it decreases. If it undergoes dissociation, it may increases, because the number of molecules, if it undergoes association, then that one molecule will be existed as it combines with another molecule, it becomes as a single molecule, so that it decreases in association, and the in dissociation of a molecule, then it increases, because when it undergoes a dissociation, it converts into a corresponding ions. So the number of ions, it may increases, so the automatically the number of particles increases, so the colligative property value increases. So because of that, whatever the molecular masses, if we calculated using ordinary colligative method, colligative properties, if any molecule, if it doesn't undergo any association or dissociation process, then only the molecular mass, whatever we calculated, is equal to the molecular mass which we can observe theoretically. But if any molecule, if it undergoes whatever the difference, if we observe from the calculated value and the theoretical value, is because of the molecule may be exist either association or dissociation process. When it undergoes association or dissociation, automatically the number of particles or molecules or ions increases or decreases, which will be the effect on the colligative property, because colligative property is which depends on only the number of particles present in that solution, but not on the nature or composition of the solution. So that automatically, if it undergoes association or dissociation, then colligative property value changes. So which we are using for the calculation of molecular mass, automatically the molecular mass value also changes. So that only the difference reason why we have to get a difference in the molecular masses, whatever we calculated from the colligative property and with the theoretical value. From the various colligative properties, such as lowering of vapor pressure, elevation in boiling point, depression in freezing point, osmotic pressure, we have seen that molecular mass is inversely proportional to colligative property. So molecular mass is proportional to 1 by colligative property. So for all the colligative properties, whatever we know, that is lowering of vapor pressure, elevation in boiling point, depression in freezing point, osmotic pressure, from all that, we can determine the molecular mass. How can we determine that molecular mass is? What is the relation between colligative property and molecular mass is? Molecular mass is inversely proportional to the colligative property. So that molecular mass is proportional to 1 by colligative property, that which we know from the all colligative properties. So in other words, molecular mass is proportional to 1 by number of solute particles, because colligative property which depends only on the number of solute particles, so that molecular mass is proportional to 1 by number of solute particles. So for when we can observe the difference in the molecular mass for the calculated value with the theoretical value, means only when a molecule, if it undergoes an association or dissociation. So for example, if it undergoes an association, then what will be the molecular mass? If it is a dissociation process, then what will be the molecular mass? And what is the difference which we have to find out it from the calculated value with the theoretical value, that which we have to see now. So when a molecule undergoes association, then what will be the molecular mass, that which we have to see now. There are large number of organic substances which undergo association in non-aqueous solvents. So many of the organic substances, simply they can undergo a association process. That means they can be exist as a dimers, same molecule, they can exist as a dimers in non-aqueous solvents. Due to this, two or more molecules of the solute associate to form a bigger molecules. So because of that, they can undergo association in non-aqueous solvents. So because of non-association in a non-aqueous solvents, generally two or more molecules of a solute, they can associate to form a bigger molecules. Thus, the total number of molecules in solution decreases. So if two or three molecules, if they combine with each other, if they become as a bigger molecule, then the total number of molecules present in that solution will be decreased because of they are associating with each other. So they convert into a bigger molecule. So the number of molecules in a solution decreases. So the association in the molecule is caused by hydrogen bonding. So how is it possible to undergo association for any molecule in a non-aqueous solvents means generally it is caused by because of hydrogen bonding. So there are a large number of organic substances which undergo association in the non-aqueous solvents. Basically, that is possible only in non-aqueous solvents. Due to this, that means because of in non-aqueous solvents, organic substance, they can very easily undergo association. So because of that, two or more molecules of the solute associate to form a bigger molecules. So generally they can combine with each other and they are simply they can associate with each other to form a bigger molecules. Thus, the total number of molecules in solution decreases. So if two or more molecules, if they combine with each other and if they become as a bigger molecule, then automatically number of molecules present in that solution will decrease. So the association in molecules is caused by hydrogen bonding. So how is it possible the association of molecules in any solution is generally it is possible by the hydrogen bonding, which is existing between one atom of one molecule to the another atom of another molecule. In general, that is possible in between oxygen and hydrogen, one electronegative element and another one is the hydrogen in general. So that is because of hydrogen bonding only the association takes place. For example, acetic acid exists as a dimer in benzene. So acetic acid, actually the formula for acetic acid is CH3COOH. When it is in benzene, that is in the non-aqueous solvents, then it can combines with one more molecule of acetic acid, it exists as a dimer. That means two molecules, they combine with each other. So association takes place. So that is the structure of acetic acid, which we can observe here. See, this is acetic acid CH3, C double bond O, COOH, and one more C acetic acid molecule, that is CH3, COOH. In that hydrogen of one acetic acid and which can form a hydrogen bonding with oxygen of that is high electronegative element of another acetic acid oxygen. In the same way, first acetic acid hydrogen can make a hydrogen bonding with oxygen of second acetic acid oxygen molecule, so that which exists as a dimer. So acetic acid, it will be as a dimer in benzoic acid, in benzene. Benzoic acid also exists as a dimer in benzene. So in non-aqueous solvents, many of the organic substance, they can exist as a dimers. For example, if you take acetic acid, that is when we keep the acetic acid in benzene, or when it is in the non-aqueous solvents like benzene. In benzene, acetic acid we can observe as a dimer, not a single molecule. So when they undergoes association, that means if two or more molecules, if they associate with each other, if they become as a bigger molecule, that is either dimer or trimer, then automatically the number of molecules in that solution, which is going to be decreased. Because of the decrease in the number of molecules, then automatically colligative property value will decreases, because colligative property, which depends on the number of molecules or particles of the solution which is present, or particles of a solute which is present in a solution, so that automatically if under association takes place, then the number of particles or molecules decreases. So the in general colligative property value also decreases. As the number of molecules of acetic acid is reduced to 1/2, we say from above that the molecular mass of the solute will be double than that of its theoretical value. So in the example of acetic acid, two molecules of acetic acid, they are associated as a dimers. So if acetic acid, number of molecules in acetic acid, it is going to be decreased into half. Instead of 2, it is going to be half. So if number of particles is reduced to half, then automatically molecular mass of a solute will be double than that of its theoretical value, because molecular mass is inversely proportional to 1 by number of particles, number of solute particles present in that solution, or 1 by colligative property. So number of particles, which is a half only, so the molecular mass of acetic acid will be double. Due to association, the value of observed molecular masses will be abnormally higher than their actual values. So if association takes place, then the molecular masses will be abnormally, because it's maximum of unexpected values of higher than their actual values. Actual values and the molecular masses which we can observe when it undergoes association. If we observe that abnormally higher the values for the association of any molecule, molecular masses will be there, but actual values are very less in case of if the molecule undergoes association in a solution. For example, in case of acetic acid, acetic acid which is existing as a dimer. So if we observe an acetic acid, the observed molecular mass is found to be 118, while the actual value is 60. So how much difference it is having? So because of, if any molecule, if it is in the association, then the molecular mass of that molecular mass of a solute in that associated molecule will be abnormally higher, because of number of molecules of a solute particles which is going to be decreased, so that molecular masses are abnormally higher as compared to the theoretical value or actual value. So for acetic acid, its value is 118 for molecular mass when it is in the dimer, and the actual value of molecular mass of a solute, that is acetic acid, is 60. So that such a difference, which we can say that it is abnormal molecular mass differences, abnormal molecular masses of a solute when it is in the association or in the dissociation. This is for example of an association, acetic acid as a dimer, whose molecular mass will be 118 when it is in the dimer, and actual value is it's only 60. And what about the dissociation? If the molecule undergoes dissociation, what will be the value of molecular mass? Whether it increases the colligative property or decreases the colligative property, in turn, what will happen for the molecular mass? That which we have to say now. Most of the electrolytes like acids, bases, and salts undergo dissociation in aqueous solutions. So when they are in water, that is in aqueous solutions, generally, most of the electrolytes like acids, bases, and salts, they can undergo dissociation. This means that the molecules break ions, resulting in the formation of large number of particles. So in electrolyte, when they are in aqueous solutions, that is in presence of water, either acid or base or salts, they can undergo dissociation. Simply electrolysis takes place. So the molecule which breaks into different types of ions, so resulting the formation of total number of particles increases. For example, when calcium chloride is dissolved in water, each molecule dissociates to form 3 ions. Calcium chloride, when it is dissolved in water, each molecule dissociates to form 3 ions, that is 1 calcium ion and 2 chloride ions. CaCl2 gives rise to Ca2 plus and 2 Cl minus. So 1 calcium ion and 2 chloride ions. When it is dissolved in water, that means dissociation of a molecule takes place, that is calcium chloride. So we can expect 3 ions. 1 is calcium ion and 2 is chloride ions. Due to this, the effective number of particles increases. So the number of particles that will be increased because of dissociation, as it converts as a corresponding ions, total 3 ions which is formed. So the number of ions increases, so our particles increases. So automatically, as the number of particles, colligative property which depends only on the number of particles of a solute. So that colligative property value also increases because of particles increases in dissociation. As a result, the values of colligative properties are found to be much higher than the expected value. So the colligative property value increases. Since the colligative properties vary inversely as the molecular mass, the values of observed molecular masses are to be found low, abnormally low. So when it is a dissociation, number of particles increases. So the colligative property value, as the number of particles increases, colligative property value increases than the expected value. So once the colligative property value increases, which is inversely proportional to the molecular mass, so that as colligative property increases, molecular masses will be decreased, so that it is abnormally, they have a low value when it is in the dissociation. So what will the value of colligative property, observed colligative property, and what is the difference in the colligative, calculated colligative properties? If it is in the association of a molecule or dissociation of molecule, how can we calculate that observed colligative property and calculated colligative property are generally theoretical value of a colligative property. What is the value or the ratio which express the nature of the molecule, which we can call it as a Van 't Hoff factors. Using the Van 't Hoff factor, we can find out it. What is the value of when the molecule undergoes association or dissociation? What will be the Van 't Hoff factor? And automatically, what is the nature of that molecular mass of a solute or a molecule, the molecular mass? What will the values that which we can find out it using Van 't Hoff factor? So, what is Van 't Hoff factor and how to calculate the Van 't Hoff factor? How it is related with the colligative property, and how can we calculate or how can we estimate the Van 't Hoff factor for a molecule if it is an association or dissociation process if it undergoes, that also which we have to see now. So Van 't Hoff factor, what it is? Van 't Hoff introduced a factor that is small I, we can represent it as small I, called Van 't Hoff's constant. This factor expresses the extent of dissociation or association which certain solutes undergo in solution. So what it explains or what it express means, it express how much a solute can undergo a dissociation or association when it is in a solution. That will be clearly explained the Van 't Hoff factor. How can we define that Van 't Hoff factor means? It is defined as the ratio of the observed value of colligative property to the theoretical value of colligative property. So Van 't Hoff factor is nothing but it's a ratio between observed value of a colligative property to the theoretical value of a colligative property. So that is the ratio between observed and calculated or simply theoretical value of a colligative property. For any colligative property, that I or Van 't Hoff factor is same. This is the ratio only for observed and normal or theoretical colligative property value. For example, I equal to observed osmotic pressure by normal osmotic pressure. So if we take it as colligative property as osmotic pressure, then how can we calculate the Van 't Hoff factor means I equal to observed osmotic pressure by normal osmotic pressure. For example, this if you consider it as equation 1, since the molecular mass of a solute varies inversely as the colligative property, that which we know molecular mass is inversely proportional to the colligative property or inversely proportional to the number of particles present in that solute, number of solute particles present in that solution also. So simply we can calculate, express the Van 't Hoff factor another way. So that is in terms of molecular mass, which we can express it. Van 't Hoff factor can also be expressed as I equal to normal molecular mass by observed molecular mass. So I value is nothing but Van 't Hoff factor. Van 't Hoff factor we can calculate, it's a ratio between observed and theoretical colligative property only, because colligative property is inversely proportional to the molecular mass. So we can express the Van 't Hoff factor in terms of molecular mass also. So that I equal to normal molecular mass by observed molecular mass. This is in terms of molecular mass, we can express it. Also, we can write it that observed molecular mass by normal molecular mass equal to normal number of solute particles by number of particles after association or dissociation of a solute. So this also we can use it for the calculation of number of particles or I value Van 't Hoff factor for the association or dissociation of a molecule in general. So in general, I is observed molecular mass by normal molecular mass. That which we can represent it as in terms of a solute particles, normal number of solute particles. That means if the molecule doesn't undergo any association or dissociation, then it is the number of solute particles, how many it is having, that is normal number of solute particles by number of particles after association or dissociation of a solute. Next, what is the importance of explaining the extent of dissociation or association? So what's the use? Why we have to go for to explain the dissociation or association is because if you want knowing the value of Van 't Hoff factor for a solute in solution, the extent of dissociation or association of solute can be calculated. So once we know the Van 't Hoff factor, we can easily find out it the dissociation or association of any solute, how much it is going to be in solution. That also we can calculate it using the using Van 't Hoff factor. So for if any molecule, if it is undergoes association, if a solute undergoes association in a solution, then how can we find out that I value, that is Van 't Hoff factor value, that which we have to discuss it now. See, degree of association. If it is if the solute is undergoes association in solution, then what will be the Van 't Hoff factor? It means the fraction of the total number of molecules of solute which associate to form a bigger molecules. What is the meaning of association of a solute means? It's only not completely all the solute molecules, they won't undergo association. Only a fraction of molecules present in a solution that only can undergo association. They convert into as a bigger molecule. How many number of molecules, if they convert, are they associated with another molecules, and what is the remaining solute molecules, that which we have to calculate it under degree of association. See, consider 1 mole of a solute dissolved in a definite volume of the solvent. So 1 mole of a solute which is dissolved in a definite volume of a solvent. Let n simple molecules associate to form an associated molecule as described below. So n molecules, if they associate, if they convert into a associated molecule as an, let alpha be the degree of association. A degree of association, if we represent it as alpha, then number of associated molecules is equal to number of associated molecules equal to alpha by n, because n molecules associated, so that if one molecule degree of association is alpha, number of associated molecules is alpha by n. Number of unassociated moles equal to 1 minus alpha. Total is alpha. Total in general number of moles for in any solution it is 1. So it is 1 minus alpha. Therefore, number of effective moles in solution. How many number of moles in a solution is 1 minus alpha plus alpha by n. We know that the observed osmotic pressure will be due to the actual number of moles present in the solution. So observed osmotic pressure will be due to the actual number of moles present in solution. How many number of moles, how many number of molecules are present in a solution, or number of moles of that is nothing but a particles present in the solution. So that I equal to, that is Van 't Hoff factor I equal to observed osmotic pressure by calculated osmotic pressure. That in terms of number of moles, if we express it, total number of moles after association by total number of moles before association. So that is the same in terms of number of moles or number of particles which we have to express it. So I, that is Van 't Hoff factor equal to 1 minus number of moles after association is 1 minus alpha plus alpha by n, and total number of moles before association is it's always only 1. So since the value of osmotic pressure varies inversely as the molecular mass of a solute, so we can represent it that as I equal to normal molecular mass by observed molecular mass. That is equal to 1 minus alpha plus alpha by n by 1. So in general, not only with osmotic pressure, any of the colligative property which is inversely proportional to the molecular mass. So for I value, that is 1/2 factor, how can we calculate it? Observed colligative property by normal colligative property. Colligative property is inversely proportional to the molecular mass, so that 1/2 factor is normal molecular mass by observed molecular mass. So that which we can calculate it with the formula of 1 minus alpha plus alpha by n, number of moles, that is by 1. Knowing the value of 1/2 factor I, the value of alpha or the degree of association of the solution can be calculated. If we know the I value, then we can easily calculate the alpha value. So the number of particles or number of moles after association, that also which we can calculate it using 1 minus alpha plus alpha by n value. So when a molecule in a solution, if a solute undergoes association, using 1/2 factor, we can easily find out how much number of particles which is present of when a solute undergoes association, we can easily find out it using 1/2 factor. So that is with the if a molecule undergoes association, that is main. And what about dissociation? If the molecule if a solute undergoes dissociation in a solution, or a molecule undergoes dissociation in a solution, then what will be the 1/2 factor and what will be the colligative property value, and what about the molecular mass of a solute if it is in dissociation, that also which we can find out it using 1/2 factor. So how can we find the degree of dissociation using 1/2 factor when a solute undergoes dissociation, that which we have to see now. Most of the electrolytes, that is acids, bases, and salts, undergo dissociation in aqueous solution. So in general, acids, bases, or salts, simply they can undergo dissociation because they are an electrolytes. When they are in the aqueous solution, that means when they are dissolved in water, then automatically they can undergo dissociation. This means that the molecules break into ions, resulting in the formation of a large number of particles. So whenever they undergo dissociation, that is electrolysis takes place, so that automatically the molecules, they can break into ions, resulting the formation of a large number of ions. So if it forms a large number of ions, then what will be the colligative property of that particular molecule, and then what is the molecular mass of the solute? With that, how can we calculate the 1/2 factor? With the 1/2 factor, how can we find out the molecular masses? That is for a dissociated molecule, that also we have to see now. For example, when calcium chloride dissociates, 1 calcium ion and 2 chloride ions results. So calcium chloride, that is CaCl2, if it undergoes dissociation, we can expect 1 calcium ion, that is Ca2 plus, and 2 chloride ions, that is 2 Cl minus. Due to this, the effective number of particles increases, and hence, so because of dissociation, number of particles, so that the effective number of particles increases, and hence the value of colligative property, either it may be osmotic pressure or elevation in boiling point or depression in freezing point or lowering of vapor pressure, any of the colligative property, automatically it has to be found to be much higher than the expected value, because of number of particles increases because of dissociation of a solute. So that colligative property, which is nothing but depends on the number of particles present in that solution, so automatically colligative property value increases. It's because it's a very higher than the original value. As the colligative properties vary inversely as the molecular mass. So colligative property is inversely proportional to the molecular mass. So the value of the observed molecular masses are generally found to be abnormally low because of colligative property is very high, because of number of particles increases when the molecule undergoes dissociation. So colligative molecular mass is inversely to the colligative property, so that if the colligative property is very much higher, then automatically molecular mass will be abnormally it is a low. So how much it is having, how to calculate the Van 't Hoff factor for a molecule if it is a dissociation, if it undergoes a dissociation, that which we have to say. Degree of dissociation means the fraction of the total number of molecules which dissociate, that is break into simpler molecules or ions. So what it means the degree of dissociation means the fraction of the total number of molecules. Only if a solution contains number of solute particles, but all the solute particles, they won't undergo dissociation. Only fraction of solute particles only can undergo dissociation. So that is what is the dissociation means. It's a fraction of total number of molecules which dissociate, that is break into simpler molecules or ions. Suppose a molecule of an electrolyte when dissolved in solvent dissociate to give n number of ions, and alpha is the degree of dissociation. So if any electrolyte, if it undergoes dissociation, if it gives n number of ions, whatever may be the type of ions, total number of ions if it is n, and the degree of dissociation if we consider it as alpha. So then what is the, for example, if any molecule, if it undergoes dissociation and it gives a number of ions, degree of dissociation is alpha. So n number of ions means n alpha. Then what about how much fraction as the molecule undergoes dissociation means 1 minus alpha. So for example, a molecule undergoes dissociation, which gives B, C, D, and so on ions. And that means that converts into a different types of molecules when it undergoes dissociation. So n number of ions if it is there, then degree of dissociation if it is alpha. A molecule A, how much it is going to, what much fraction it is going to be dissociated means 1 minus alpha. And each ion which is having alpha degree of dissociation. So n number of ions if it is formed in the dissociation, so we can get it total n alpha molecules. So total number of moles before dissociation equal to 1. So what is the number of moles before dissociation? Generally before dissociation, the total number of moles of a solute and solvent must be always 1. So it is 1. Total number of moles after dissociation, how to calculate it? That is, number of effective molecules in a solution is nothing but total number of moles after dissociation. How can we calculate that total number of moles after dissociation means number of fraction of or number of moles of a dissociated molecule plus total number of moles of a after dissociation, the number of ions, how many it is formed. So that is 1 minus alpha plus n alpha. That is nothing but simply we can represent it as 1 plus n minus 1 into alpha. We know that the observed osmotic pressure will be due to the effective number of moles of the solute in solution. That which we know. So generally the observed osmotic pressure or observed any colligative property is due to the number of effective number of moles of a solute, how many it is present in that solution, that is nothing but observed. So that therefore I, that is nothing but Van 't Hoff factor equal to observed osmotic pressure by calculated osmotic pressure. Because osmotic pressure as a colligative property which depends on the total number of moles of a solute which is present in them. So total number of moles after dissociation by total number of moles before dissociation. So that also the formula which we can use it for the calculation of Van 't Hoff factor. So Van 't Hoff factor I equal to 1 plus n minus 1 into alpha by 1, or alpha equal to I minus 1 by n minus 1. So simply we can calculate the degree of dissociation using Van 't Hoff factor. If the number of ions, how many number of ions, if you know, then we can calculate the degree of dissociation value very easily. So for example, if you know the degree of dissociation, we can calculate the Van 't Hoff factor. Once we know the Van 't Hoff factor, we can calculate the observed colligative property, either osmotic pressure or any one. Once we know the already theoretical value or calculated value, if you know, we can find out it the observed. So using any two values, we can find out it the unknown value. using Van der Waals factor. Or I, that is Van der Waals factor. Once again, we can use it. Observed osmotic pressure by calculated osmotic pressure, that is 1 plus n minus 1 into alpha by 1. Since the values of osmotic pressure or other colligative properties vary inversely as the molecular masses, we write that. So simply, in general, any colligative property, either osmotic pressure or depression in freezing point or any other colligative property, simply they are inversely proportional to the molecular mass of a solute. So instead of a osmotic pressure, we can represent the same formula for Van der Waals factor in terms of molecular mass. So that is I equal to normal molecular mass by observed molecular mass. That is nothing but 1 plus n minus 1 into alpha by 1. This is for 1 plus n minus 1 into alpha by 1 is nothing but total number of moles after dissociation, and 1 is nothing but number of moles before dissociation. So this is nothing but equal to the calculation for I value based on total number of moles of a solute after dissociation and before dissociation. That is nothing but we can calculate it. This will be used for the calculation of molecular mass of a solute. Once we know the molecular mass of a solute, original molecular mass and observed molecular mass, that if we take a ratio, then we can find out it the Van der Waals factor. Using Van der Waals factor, we can calculate the alpha value, that is degree of dissociation. So knowing the observed molecular mass and the Van der Waals factor, the degree of dissociation of the solute can be calculated. So if you know the molecular mass and Van der Waals factor, we can also calculate the alpha value for a solute, that is nothing but degree of dissociation of a solute, very easily using Van der Waals factor. So this, when a solute, if it undergoes association or dissociation, using that we can find out it the I value, that is nothing but Van der Waals factor. Using Van der Waals factor, we can calculate the molecular mass of a solute, whatever it is going to be undergoes association or dissociation. We also can find out it the colligative property value using Van der Waals factor, or we also can find out it the degree of dissociation for any of the molecule, whether it undergoes association or dissociation. So with this, we can conclude the topic entire colligative properties, dilute solution and colligative properties lesson. In that, we can discuss different types of colligative properties along with the Raoult's law. How can we determine the molecular mass of a solute using all the 4 different types of colligative properties? That is lowering of vapor pressure, elevation in boiling point, depression in freezing point, and osmotic pressure. Along with that, we also discussed in the previous videos what are the different types of Van der Waals laws, like gaseous laws. How can we find out the relation between osmotic pressure with the temperature and concentration for any gas? That also which we discussed. After that, what is the abnormal molecular masses for any solute if it undergoes association or dissociation in a solution? For that, how can we calculate the Van der Waals factor? Based on Van der Waals factor, how can we determine for any associated or dissociated solute in a solution, how can we find out the degree of dissociation? That also we discussed in this topic. So with this, we can conclude this finish this topic. We can continue with the next video and the next with the next topic. Thank you.